looked like a beginning to a zombie movie. Just cars littered everywhere on top of sidewalks in the median, in the middle of the street, no lights on. Just craziness. Abandoned cars everywhere.
Now, this is what parts of South Florida are still looking like after 4 straight days of non-stop rain, washed out neighborhoods, and an alarming new reality for locals who say this is the worst flooding they've seen in decades. I'm Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. And there is so much flooding across southeast Florida right now that all it would take is another 1/4 inch of rain in an hour to trigger new flooding there. Flood watches are in effect across South Florida, but Miami-Dade and Broward County are still especially vulnerable to flash flooding, as there's been little to no time for that water there to recede. And that means rescue crews are out helping people who can't even get out of their homes. Meanwhile, Governor Ron DeSantis says about 100 homes have suffered damage so far, and that might not be enough to declare a federal disaster.
We don't think there's going to be enough damage to necessarily qualify for a federal disaster declaration, but there may be enough damage with small businesses because the threshold is different, where we can unlock some assistance for small businesses.
We're going to get into that a little bit more in just a bit, but it is not just Florida. There is a whole lot of severe weather impacting millions more coast to coast. Severe thunderstorms are rolling through the Northeast, which could bring damaging winds and hail. And next week, that same part of the country is forecast to see dangerously hot temperatures. Meanwhile, people in the Midwest saw severe storms and a possible tornado overnight. Parts of Missouri especially hit hard. And back out west, a major wildfire fueled by severe heat in Arizona is still burning. Crews say the Rose Fire has destroyed dozens of homes and is about 70% contained. There's a lot going on weather-wise, and we've got a team tracking it all. NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns is going to have the forecast. But first, let's go to NBC News correspondent Sam Brock in Miami, Florida. So, Sam, you've got state officials saying that it could have been worse, but we've been hearing from a lot of people over the past few days that this is the worst that they've ever seen. What are you hearing from people?
So Wednesday was really bad, Gadi. When we were last reporting with you, it was an absolute mess. It was a circus. Cars were stalling out everywhere that you look. It was just the rate of rainfall was so intense. Even for an area like South Florida that is accustomed to it, it absolutely threw folks for a loop. We dodged a bullet because if you had seen 2 or 3 or 4 more inches of rain coming down in a tighter time window the last couple of days, it could have been catastrophic. The National Weather Service said it could have been catastrophic. Luckily, that's not what happened. But even still today, I'm in this North Miami community. I caught up with a bunch of people who are still trying to get their cars towed. One gentleman who had taken a vacuum and was walking through several feet of water back to his house to try to suck the water out of his house. And I mean, this is just a normal residential neighborhood. I mean, they've seen an accumulation of rainfall, obviously, but it wasn't like it was just coming down really hard today. Listen to what he said when I asked him about this being described by the governor as sort of just a normal thunderstorm in South Florida. Here was his response. Do you think for folks who are in the middle of this, it's upsetting to hear the governor describe it as a normal thunderstorm?
Yeah, of course they're going to get mad. It's not a normal thunderstorm. You can't get mad at Mother Nature, but it's been happening over and over. They have had a lot of opportunity to prepare this area, and it's always been flooded. Now, in fairness to the governor, he did say also that earlier this week it was pretty intense, but just not necessarily historic in proportion. And maybe it wasn't compared to Fort Lauderdale a year ago. You remember 25 inches in 12 hours. Yeah, that was a once-in-a-thousand-year type of event. But still, Governor DeSantis only a month ago, Gadi, signed a bill striking the words climate change out of some of the state's energy policy and saying that they were not going to be factoring in climate change to its policy, which is curious, given the fact that Florida is clearly on the vanguard, really the front lines of all the changes that we're seeing, from severe storms that turn into epic events to more intense and regular hurricanes. All of that is coming really full steam to the Sunshine State.
Yeah, you say curious. I'm looking behind you, and I think of, like, totally swamped. It's not raining anymore, and you still have that much standing water. So the governor says that there isn't enough damage for a federal disaster declaration, right? So what does a threshold like that look like?
This is where it gets a little sticky. The way that he described it in the Florida Department of Emergency Management is you need a threshold of 1,000 homes that are badly damaged or destroyed. And in this case, they felt like that figure was more like 100. He said in the city of Hollywood, and they expected it to climb maybe to about 500, but not all badly damaged or destroyed, so that the state is not meeting that threshold, or that these community members aren't. I will say, though, as you talk about this street right here, I'll ask our photographer, Andy, to pan in for a second, and you'll see just there's still, Gadi, like 4 feet of water. Only about 30 minutes ago, when we were reporting for some other platforms here, we were watching high water vehicles go down the street and take people away. Some of these people that have lived here for years say that they were blocked in, could not leave their own street for days because of this rainfall, right? So it really does speak to a picture of how intense a normal severe storm can be, even though, you know, it's not of historic proportions by the numbers. A lot of people really feeling the effects here.
But what does this do to insurance premiums out there? I mean, they were already like super high, right?
This is a major problem. Anyone who wants to buy a home in Florida or has property insurance has noticed that it's gone up. And we've seen some of the major players in this state, from farmers to AAA, saying, you know what, after last year, in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, the costliest hurricane in the history of Florida, we're done. We're out of here. There's also commercial property insurance. So when you think about the fact that's gone up 125% in 5 years, 5 times the rate of increase of the rest of the country. Nursing homes are having to close down. There's been some anecdotal evidence of that, or missed payments. Like, the ripple effects are extreme. Not to mention car insurance as well has also climbed in recent years. Look how many vehicles, hundreds of them, that were affected by this event. I would not be surprised to see those rates get jacked up once again after an event like this.
Yeah, so many of them we saw stalling out during your live shots there. Sam Brock, thank you so much for your incredible reporting all week. And like we mentioned earlier, it has been a whiplash of severe weather tonight across the country. Flooding, hail, wildfires. NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns is tracking it all and joins us now. Hey, Bill.
Gadi, we're tracking all sorts of crazy weather, from the heat in the west, we got severe thunderstorms rolling through New York City, to the situation still taking place in South Florida. Now, we were fearful today, just like yesterday, that we could have additional thunderstorms and make the problem worse. It hasn't really materialized. We have been watching about 4 million people now under flood watches. The number's been dropping, and that's because a lot of the heavy rain missed. I mean, we're so lucky. All that big heavy rain you see here, that stayed off the coast. We have watched a couple isolated new thunderstorms forming, so we may have, a little bit of isolated urban flooding in areas that have, still have water on the ground. Maybe it'll rise a little bit, hopefully not getting too much worse. We're also watching severe thunderstorms in 2 different areas. We've been tracking isolated severe storms all afternoon and evening long, from the northeast, New England, all the way back into the Ohio Valley. We've had some pretty strong storms roll through Boston, also some large hail and some damaging winds in areas of Ohio. But this line of storms that just rolled through New York City, the airports had to close down briefly, a ground stop, and they'll get going again, but that ripple effect will be felt across the country. Speaking of storms, we've had some big ones, too, in northeast Colorado, mostly rural areas. Denver has been spared from a lot of the big storms. And as far as the storms go, large hail, isolated wind damage, not concerned about tornadoes. So the story, Gadi, as we go throughout Father's Day weekend, is the heat. This is going to be the big story for at least the next week, maybe even longer than that. Even by Palm Springs standards, that's a hot day. 113, Phoenix 106, Vegas also at 106. And the story is that the big heat dome is on the move. It's been located over the southwest in areas of West Texas. By the time we get through about middle to end of next week, it's located over New England of all places. And that's why we're going to see extreme risk in numerous locations starting Sunday and Monday in areas of the Midwest, Missouri, Iowa. This purple magenta color shows where the extreme risk is. And this is where we could see heat illness, possible heat fatalities. Some people that don't have air conditioning in Wisconsin, Michigan, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. There's 30% of the population in these areas that does not have air conditioning. It is going to be very dangerous for them because at night it's not going to cool off all that much. And even past that, as we look towards the 6 to 10 day outlook, even towards next weekend, it stays much warmer than normal. So we're going to talk not just record highs, Gadi, which we'll have dozens of, possibly even some all-time June high temperature records will be set next week.
To quote you, Bill, hard pass. And turning now to a big gun control ruling coming out of the Supreme Court today as the conservative 6-3 majority voted to overturn a Trump-era federal ban on bump stocks that have been used in rifles and mass shootings. Now, bump stocks are these devices that basically allow a semi-auto rifle to fire much, much faster. We are talking hundreds of bullets a minute. In fact, take a quick look at this demonstration here.
Here's the semi-auto firing rate one more time. My finger was pulling the trigger manually. And here it is again, with the currently fully legal bump stock installed on the AR-15.
All right, so these modifications were banned by a Trump executive order in 2018, which was at the time backed by bipartisan support a year after that Vegas mass shooting that killed 58 people and left hundreds of others hurt. Take a listen to how heavy that barrage of gunfire was from the sole shooter firing down on that crowd that night. That video was taken from a witness to that shooting. The shooter fired more than 1,000 rounds in about 11 minutes. He was found to have bump stocks on the rifles he used. Now, ever since 1968, fully auto machine guns have been illegal for civilians, and bump stocks were seen as kind of a loophole around that law. But after the Vegas shooting, the Trump administration argued bump stocks, which use the gun's recoil to help do the firing, turned semis into machine guns. And at the time, even the NRA seemed to agree, backing the ban. But in today's majority ruling, the conservative justices decided that guns with bump stocks do not really meet the legal definition of a banned fully auto machine gun, so federally they are no longer banned. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas joins us now. Okay, Danny, this seems like the gun law quagmire that is the United States gun law system just got a whole lot murkier. These are now federally legal, right? But what about states like here in California where there are a lot of gun control laws and they're banned?
They were always federally legal because of the definition of machine gun in the statute. If there is a gripe to be had, it's not with the Supreme Court, it's with the statute itself, because Congress chose to define a machine gun as something that expels more than one bullet per function of the trigger. But the reason this only applies federally is that it doesn't actually have anything to do with the Second Amendment to the Constitution. This isn't a gun rights case. This is a piece of federal legislation, and really the only issue before the court was defining what a machine gun is and what a function of the trigger is, such that does a bump stock, which essentially makes your finger bionic, it makes the trigger be able to be pulled at a superhuman rate, does that turn it into a machine gun? And frankly, the folks looking to uphold the ban had a pretty good argument because they said it was a machine gun in spirit. But the outcome was really never in doubt, at least to me, because the definition is in the statute what it is. It won't affect the states because this is a federal statute. So if you're, say, a state like New Jersey or New York and you want to ban bump stocks, you can try. There may be a Second Amendment challenge to it, but that's a separate issue. You can define machine guns as something that fires by rate of fire as opposed to function of the trigger. The problem then is you still might get a Second Amendment challenge.
I'm so glad you brought up the Second Amendment because so many people are going to be seeing this. They're going to think guns at the Supreme Court. Oh, this has to be a Second Amendment issue. But you're talking about the Gun Control Act of 1968. Also, we're talking about an executive order. Is there a potential, like, is this an executive overreach issue as well? Or is this just about the definition that was laid out in 1968? Because that seems like there's some reconciling to do with the conservative justices who may very staunchly support the Second Amendment, but you've also got this 1968 law on the books that kind of flies in the face of some of that, right?
Yes, but the Second Amendment really never comes into play. It's a simple statutory construction case. And the question really is, does a gun that with one trigger function, is it one trigger function, one bullet, or is it more than one bullet per trigger function? And the reason bump stocks are so tricky to analyze is that the human part of it is that I would be pushing forward on this on the front of the gun and pulling back, and I'm not even pulling my trigger. In fact, you don't see your finger right there. You don't even need your finger. You could put a piece of plastic there that doubles as your finger. So in theory, you could do a bump stock machine gun effective fire rate by simply putting a piece of plastic in that trigger area and pushing forward on the front part of the gun. So there really is only one function, and that was the argument they made. If you're only making one physical movement, it really doesn't matter whether it's the trigger that's moving quickly or some internal mechanism that's moving quickly. So really, it was a very tricky interpretation of not only the statute, but how guns work. And you could see at oral argument that, there were some justices that, like me, that are not naturally familiar with guns, not gun owners, and it really required a lot of explanation. But at its core, strictly a statutory interpretation case. As yet, bump stocks really haven't yet implicated the Second Amendment.
Interesting. And Danny, I mean, as you're talking about the function of the trigger pull, like I keep thinking about this other problem that a lot of cops are seeing out there. And I know that when bump stocks were banned, I guess like yesterday, a lot of cops were complaining about this different type of modification that they were seeing with those little 3D printed things that you could stick inside of a Glock. They call them a Glock switch, and they basically turn a handgun, a Glock, into an automatic. I think we've got some video of that being shot. Let's take a quick look at that.
These illegal devices turn a semi-automatic firearm into a fully automatic machine gun that will shoot a continuous spray of bullets with one pull of the trigger.
Now, obviously, the recoil there not hitting the shoulder to go back, but could you argue that these should also be federally legal based on what we saw from the Supreme Court?
So imagine if you could that I built a robot hand with a button on it, and I push the button once, and the part that looks like a finger, not a human finger, but a robotic, like the Terminator, pulls it at a high rate of speed. Is that a machine gun? I mean, all I've done is create a bionic hand that pulls a trigger faster than any human could pull it. But under that federal law, then you now have created something that is not a machine gun. It is still just a semi-auto because it's one function of the trigger, one bullet. And really, here's the reason why that you can blame Congress. Congress could pass a different statute. The states can and will pass different statutes, and they'll be able to outlaw bump stocks as long as they write a statute in the correct way. What that statute would look like, I'm not entirely sure, because no matter what, it's going to be challenged. But back when this bump stock ban came out years ago during the Trump administration, I knew even then, having handled a lot of gun cases, but not being a firearms owner or fan myself, but the fact was that just under the strict reading of the statute, this was a long shot ban back from the first day it was enacted.
Yeah, that bionic hand analogy there just really drives it home. Danny Savalos, thank you so much. And if flying makes you kind of nervous these days, this next story is not going to make you feel any better. Another twist in the Boeing saga tonight, with the FAA now saying that the company, along with Airbus, may have used counterfeit titanium in planes, but Boeing and Airbus both say their tests of the materials in question so far show no signs of problems. Now, Boeing and Airbus are two of the world's biggest commercial airline makers, and lately Boeing has had a lot of scrutiny on it after that door panel flew off 787 back in January. Let's bring in NBC's David Noriega, who is at LAX. David, counterfeit titanium, I mean, for what part of the planes? Are we talking mission critical parts or like part of the seat?
So, Gadi, this was a batch of titanium from China that was apparently sold to a supplier, a contractor that both Airbus and Boeing use with counterfeit paperwork. Now, that supplier, which is called Spirit Aerosystems, say that they identified all of the problematic materials and quarantined them, and both Boeing and Airbus are saying that they basically caught this in time and that none of this material was actually used to make planes. Now, that contractor, Spirit Aerosystems, which has been involved in a lot of the kind of issues, investigations, whistleblower complaints involving Boeing in recent years, they mostly manufacture the airplane fuselage, which is the main part of the plane where the people go. So this is pretty significant. However, if the companies are to be believed, and again, there's an investigation ongoing, they did catch this in time, so hopefully nothing really to worry about.
You're already kind of making me feel a little better. Boeing has acknowledged their quality issues in the past, but this does seem like a first for Airbus, at least publicly, right?
So, yeah, the Airbus and Boeing are the two, they pretty much dominate this industry. It's actually often referred to as a duopoly, right? And this supplier, again, feeds both of them. So this is an issue that affects, you could say, the entire industry, this titanium issue specifically. But, of course, one of those companies has been plagued with scandals, investigations, whistleblower complaints, fatal crashes for the last few years, and the other one hasn't really. And so even if this winds up being taken care of, and that this does not wind up having any real material consequences in the end, it is inevitably, it is undeniably a pretty significant, at least, PR headache for Boeing.
Yeah, a headache before they're going to be testifying at Congress, right? What are we expecting to hear then?
Yeah, so Boeing's current CEO, Dave Calhoun, is going to testify before the Senate on Tuesday. Now, Calhoun is actually expected to step down at the end of the year, which is a lot sooner than he was expected to. He was actually brought on after those fatal crashes of Boeing jets in 2018 and 2019 with a sort of mission to reform the company. But then after this new set of scandals began earlier this year with, as you pointed out, the door panel blowing off that Alaska Airlines flight in January, he is now sort of seeding the way for whoever his successor is. The company is currently looking for a successor to once again come in with the mission of reforming the company. However, he is going to testify before the Senate about there are numerous investigations into Boeing over things like lax quality control practices, not just the sorts of issues that whistleblowers have been bringing attention to, but also the way Boeing has treated those whistleblowers. There are several allegations of whistleblower retaliation against the company. All of these things are being actively investigated by the FAA. The chief of the FAA was actually before the Senate himself yesterday, and he acknowledged on the record that the agency's oversight of Boeing in the past had been somewhat lax. So these are the sorts of issues that we expect Calhoun to be talking about when he speaks to the Senate next week.
Yeah, a lot of questions that are going to be heading his way. David, thank you. And across the country, there have been a shortage of some ADHD medications, and now a California-based telehealth company is accused of adding to that problem. The Justice Department this week announced that charges against the CEO and clinical president of Dun Global have been accused of both executives of distributing pills like Adderall and other stimulants to patients looking for the drugs, whether or not they qualify. The DOJ says the startup raked in more than $100 million by giving internet access to users to get those medications while charging a monthly subscription fee and billing insurers. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa with more on this story. So, Maggie, how exactly do prosecutors say this alleged scheme worked, and how did the website work?
Yeah, so Gadi, effectively they say it was way too easy for anyone, whether or not they had ADHD or something comparable, to get Adderall or a similar prescription stimulant. In other words, they say Dun Global basically charged a subscription fee, like you talked about, and then pressured providers and doctors giving these prescriptions to prescribe Adderall whether or not the person had ADHD. They said they were pressured to keep the intake appointments to under 30 minutes. They were pressured not to grant basically follow-up appointments to say, how are you doing with this medication? And then they would bill insurers while also collecting that subscription fee. And they say this started because basically, or rather I should say, when COVID hit, right when it first hit back in 2020. And remember that whole telehealth boom? Everyone wanted to talk to their doctor remotely because it's all we could do at the time. And they say they believe it really exacerbated this shortage. So we were talking about serious conspiracy federal charges here against these two executives who really led this company during this time.
And what kind of jail time are they possibly facing here?
We're talking about maximum up to 20 years in prison. We found out that David Brody, one of the executives, has pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. The other one, Ruthia Huh, she's the founder and CEO of this company. She has yet to enter a plea, according to her attorney. These are federal cases, and these cases are largely sealed, but our sources were able to confirm that with their attorneys. So at this point, very serious charges. I'll tell you, I talked to a mom and little boy here in the Chicago area. He's 10. He has ADHD. He needs Adderall. His mom has been struggling month after month to get it. And I said, what do you think of these, to 10-year-old Linus? I said, what do you think of these charges? What do you think of this case? And he said, I think they should go to prison. He said, I think this was really a bad thing for people who need the drugs. And Gadi, he's talking about himself. And this is a lot for all these patients to deal with, but especially kids.
Maggie, thank you. And don't go anywhere. We are just getting started. Up next, an update from Princess Kate on her cancer fight and when we can expect to see her back in the public. Meghan Fitzgerald is going to have the latest from Buckingham Palace. Plus, a retired Los Angeles sheriff's deputy went on a hike in Greece. He's been missing ever since, and he is not the first tourist to disappear over there recently. We're going to break it all down. And later this hour, the future of education. NBC's Kate Snow has more on how AI is helping kids improve in reading and writing. You're going to want to catch that, so stay tuned. Hey there, welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Houthi rebels in Yemen have launched a couple of anti-ship missiles in the Gulf of Aden that hit a commercial ship there, setting it on fire. And one person on board was seriously hurt and needed to be airlifted. The Ukrainian-owned ship was carrying wood and headed to Italy when it came under attack. And days after Russian warships popped up in Cuba for military exercises in the Caribbean, a U.S. Navy nuclear-powered submarine has also just pulled up to Cuba, but at Guantanamo Bay. White House officials say the Russian military exercises aren't any threat to the U.S., and they expect the Russian ships to stay in that area through the summer. And a Chinese Me Too activist has been sentenced to 5 years in prison on subversion charges. She was arrested by Chinese officials back in 2021, and she and other labor activists were accused of discussing social issues with Chinese youth at gatherings they held. Supporters are trying to appeal her sentence. And the 92nd Le Mans race is almost here. It's kind of like the World Cup of enduro racing with the biggest names and putting the pedal to the metal, racing for 24 hours straight. More than 60 teams with multi-million-dollar cars will be competing for a shot of glory this weekend in France. And today, Princess Kate is breaking her silence about how her cancer treatments are going, alongside this new picture from the palace saying she's not out of the woods yet. NBC News international correspondent Meghan Fitzgerald has that story.
Tonight, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, posting a new photo along with a candid update on her cancer treatment. I am making good progress, she says, but as anyone going through chemotherapy will know, there are good days and bad days. In her message, the princess says she knows she's not out of the woods yet and taking each day as it comes, listening to my body and allowing myself to take this much needed time to heal. This is the first time Princess Kate publicly addressed her cancer since announcing the diagnosis in March.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family.
Today, thanking people for their messages of support and encouragement, saying it really has made the world of difference to William and me and has helped us both through some of the harder times. The 42-year-old, who has not attended official events since Christmas and underwent abdominal surgery in January, went on to say, I'm looking forward to attending the King's birthday parade this weekend and hope to join a few public engagements over the summer. And while tomorrow is a celebration for King Charles, you can bet all eyes are going to be on the Princess of Wales, who's expected to be in a horse-drawn carriage and on the balcony with other members of the royal family. Back to you.
Meghan, thank you. In less than a week after 4 hostages were rescued from Gaza, Hamas is now saying that they have no idea how many of the remaining hostages are still alive. And this comes as ceasefire negotiations remain at a standstill, with the U.S. blaming Hamas for the delay due to, quote, haggling. The U.S. also sanctioned a far-right Israeli group today for blocking aid going into Gaza. NBC's Raf Sanchez has more.
The Iranian-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah has continued its bombardment of northern Israel for a 3rd consecutive day, firing more than 30 rockets and missiles. That's according to the Israeli military. Now, this ongoing attack is a response to Israel's assassination of a senior Hezbollah commander earlier on in the week, and it is a reminder of the danger that the war in Gaza could spread to a second front along the Israel-Lebanon border. The U.S. has been very focused on trying to keep that war from escalating and believes that the best way to avoid a new war in Lebanon is to end the current one in Gaza. Now, both the U.S. and France have been very involved in trying to reach a diplomatic solution between Israel and Hezbollah. But Israel today saying it will not engage with France on that issue because of other diplomatic confrontations that it's having. In terms of the main ceasefire talks, the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt, the main mediators, are at this point trying to figure out if the gaps between Israel and Hamas are bridgeable. That's after Hamas responded to the ceasefire proposal laid out by President Biden by seeking a series of changes, including a firm timeline for the end of the war and the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. It is not clear that that is a commitment that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is prepared to make. Meanwhile, as the families of Israeli hostages continue to pressure the government to get that deal over the line, to bring their loved ones home, we are hearing for the first time from one of the 4 hostages rescued in that dramatic raid over the weekend, Andrei Kozlov, speaking earlier today, saying that he is deeply grateful to be home with his family this Shabbat, but urging Israelis to continue demonstrating and continuing to pressure the government to bring all of the hostages home. Back to you.
Raf Sanchez, thank you. Over in Italy, there was one attendee at the G7 this year who not many expected to see there, Pope Francis. President Biden met with him today in a private meeting. The White House says the 2 leaders talked about the need for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the humanitarian situation there in Gaza. And NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more.
Tonight, President Biden wrapping up the G7 summit in Italy after a private meeting with Pope Francis. The president, a devout Catholic, greeted the pontiff along with other G7 leaders. The Pope urging them to establish guardrails for AI. Artificial intelligence is a fascinating tool and also a terrifying one, he says. The Pope using his pulpit in non-traditional ways, hosting a gathering of more than 100 comedians and actors at the Vatican, including Jimmy Fallon, Whoopi Goldberg, and Chris Rock, among others, telling them in the midst of so much gloomy news, you have the power to spread peace and smiles. Peace seems a long way off in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin now saying he'd be willing to hold ceasefire talks, but only if Ukraine were to give up territory and not join NATO. Conditions Ukraine is calling absurd after President Biden and Ukrainian President Zelensky signed a security agreement yesterday.
We're going to stand with Ukraine.
President Biden also denouncing recent acts of hate in New York, including anti-Semitic threats in this subway car.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! This is your chance to get out!
Protesters also holding a banner reading "Long Live October 7th" outside an exhibit honoring Israeli victims of the Hamas terror attacks, as well as vandals scrawling Hamas symbols in red paint on the home of a museum director who is Jewish. The president writing the horrific acts of anti-Semitism this week are abhorrent. Late tonight, the White House responding to Putin's offer, saying there's not a country in the world that can say with a straight face this is acceptable.
Gutierrez, thank you. And coming up, a search is underway for a retired L.A. sheriff's deputy who went missing during a hike in Greece. What we know tonight. But first, you got to see this. This is a semi-truck driver in Georgia that had a close call Tuesday when he got stuck on the train tracks and stalled out. Luckily, if you look closely, you can see the driver jump out of that truck just seconds before the train comes in hot and smashes that semi. Both the driver of the truck and the guy who took this video are okay. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, and here's some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Demolition of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School started today, where 17 people were killed in the 2018 mass shooting. A large excavator busted through the top of the building there as several of the victims' families watched nearby. That demolition is expected to take a week, and the building was still standing to serve as evidence during that shooter's trial back in 2022. The Texas man has been charged with threatening a federal agent. That man's name is Timothy Mueller, and he accused the agent of covering up certain crimes. He was assigned to look into Hunter Biden's laptop. In a voice message, Mueller allegedly vowed that the agent would be thrown in jail if Trump is reelected. It all happened after Hunter Biden was convicted of 3 federal gun charges last week. The CDC says there's been 3 human cases of bird flu in the U.S. spread from dairy cows, but they think the risk for people across the country remains low. The human cases are sporadic. They're spread directly from already infected cows, and more than 90 cow herds across 12 states have also been infected. We've got some incredible video of 2 hikers rescued near Joshua Tree National Park. They called 911 when they ran out of water and the woman became dehydrated. You can see the rescuers lowering down out of that helicopter, just dropping down right next to those hikers. Then those hikers being lifted up to safety. And they say they're both doing okay. And Katie Ledecky and Caleb Dressel and more of America's top swimmers are vying for a chance to make the U.S. Olympic swimming team. Those trials are kicking off tomorrow in Indianapolis, and there are only 52 spots up for grabs. The top 2 finishers in each event are expected to make the Olympic team individually, and the team trials are going to last for the next 8 days. And now to a search in Greece for a retired Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy who went missing on an island in Greece. Now, Albert Calabet was reported missing by friends after going on a hike Tuesday. His family says he is a seasoned hiker who has made that same trek in that rugged terrain a bunch of times. Now, this news comes just days after officials found the body of a British television presenter who went missing while going on a hike on another Greek island. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson. So, Steve, this is not the only tourist to go missing over the past few weeks, right? We've got the presenter, I believe there's another one, and now we've got the deputy, or the retired deputy. Is there any foul play possible here?
Yeah, retired deputy, you saw the pictures, appears to be in good shape. We should say, like, these islands that these tourists are going to are very remote, very jagged, very rugged, difficult terrain, especially for search crews that are now looking for them. These are not easy places to go hiking, and we're in the middle of this monstrous heat wave in Greece. It is like more than 100 degrees. So it's very, very difficult, I imagine, if you go off course, for you to get back on course, especially if you fall, if you slip, if you injure something. That is sort of the scenarios that I believe search and rescue workers are operating under. There has been no sign of foul play at this point. Doesn't mean there couldn't be. But I think when you bring all of those factors together, that's the calculus that they're looking at. That's how they're approaching the situation.
And 3 days missing. I mean, is that because of possibly the heat and search crews having trouble, or is that just how things go?
I think it certainly compounds the situation. I spoke to Calabet's family. You know, obviously they're worried, being now more than 72 hours on. Anytime you go beyond 48 hours, it becomes much more difficult. That is compounded, of course, again, by this extreme heat. And I want to say this again. These places are remote. This is not like remote as we're thinking about in the U.S., where you're talking about a small town, everybody knows each other. You're talking about an island that this guy was on, according to his family, where there are maybe 100 people in the nearest town. So it is very difficult. They have limited resources to search for them, although we're hearing that they're using everything available to try to find him. But obviously it's compounded when you have more than 104 degrees day after day after day. It becomes much more difficult, Gadi.
Now, I know it looks like, he looks like he's in really good shape. And the television presenter, he was found, right? His body was recovered. Do we know how he died?
Natural causes. So we don't know exactly how the situation was, where he ended up. But obviously, I think the heat has to play a factor, and getting to these people has to play a factor as well. We're not sure about Calabet. We don't know exactly where he may have veered off. And according to his family, the trail was something that he regularly did. This is a guy that has been going to the same place for more than 10 years, and they couldn't find a sign of him yet.
Wow. Steve Patterson, fingers crossed that they find him soon. Thanks so much. And still to come, real estate in California is crashing because of climate change, like literally crashing down. Houses are tumbling down cliff sides, and we're going to get into why it's happening. That's coming up, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back, and here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following right now. Picture this. You're getting out of the car at a packed LAX to check your bags curbside when all of a sudden, 2 guys duking it out knock you to the ground. That is what happened to that elderly woman a few weeks ago. Apparently, some sort of road rage incident ended in that tussle at LAX. The victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and she is recovering. Police are still looking for one of those men. And over 15,000 graduates will get degrees this weekend at UCLA, and it wraps up a tense quarter for the university, which has been at the center of controversy over pro-Palestinian protests there. UCLA said this week that they're going to be putting in extra security in place for those ceremonies and have banned all signs and flags. And a Tesla driver using self-driving mode crashed into a police car Thursday morning in Fullerton. The driver almost hit the officer standing outside the police car, but that cop was able to jump out of the way before that crash. Artificial intelligence and the classroom. Those are two worlds that were destined to clash into each other eventually. Well, that's exactly what's happening now, and it's changing the way that some kids learn, especially in underserved schools. But don't worry, it still makes the kids do all the work. That's at least what they say. And NBC News daily anchor Kate Snow went to check it out herself.
At New York's Bronx Academy of Letters, students are learning to become better readers and writers with help from Quill, a free online tool powered by AI.
It helps me improve every day that I use it.
It gives me the challenge to keep going.
In this 11th grade English class,
today we're going to take a look at one text in particular, right? Animal Farm.
Teacher Kate Auchenreith has her students do in-class activities on Quill. Kids log on to the website on their laptops and choose from different learning tools, including reading for evidence.
They read a passage and then construct 3 different sentences. And as they type those responses, Quill will then give them feedback and say, hey, we noticed that a comma was out of place. Try again.
And it's happening really fast.
Really fast.
Faster than you could get around.
100%, yes. It's something I would go home, I'd grade, I'd look, but this is immediate.
Quill's founder, Peter Galt, says that immediate feedback is critical.
So the AI, Quill, is helping correct what the student's doing.
We're really pushing the student. We're putting the thinking on the student to say, okay, keep revising. So when you write this response, Quill says, nice work.
Saving teachers time and helping students become stronger writers.
The feedback is actually great. It's so detailed, and it tells you exactly what you need to do.
Behind the scenes at Quill, a team of former teachers is manually training the AI.
We write out hundreds or thousands of pieces of feedback, and then we put that into the AI, and then the AI serves that to kids. It makes the AI much more effective in being able to give kids the right supports.
You say that writing is critical for every student.
Yeah, we really believe writing is a superpower.
Nationwide literacy is on the decline. Average reading scores among students across the board are at their lowest level in decades. Peter says Quill is trying to help kids catch up. Today, the program is used by nearly 3 million students in all 50 states. The nonprofit is now working with Google, one of its biggest funders, to develop its AI and build more advanced tools.
For example, helping kids build a paragraph or building a thesis statement.
But more AI in the classroom is not always welcomed by teachers. A recent Pew Research survey found 1/4 of public K-12 teachers say using AI tools like ChatGPT in education does more harm than good.
There's some really great AI out there, and there's some not so great AI.
When people hear AI in a classroom, they think of kids cheating. This is different.
Yeah. The AI never writes for the student with Quill, that the student's always doing the writing.
Kate says at first she was also hesitant.
Did you have some doubts about using AI?
Yeah, I mean, when I started teaching, I was using chalk and a chalkboard, and I've certainly, had to adapt quite a bit. Let's go to work with our reading, and I'll circulate and support.
After using the program for the last year, her outlook has changed.
Once I was seeing how this could help me, how this could help my students, it was just sort of a no-brainer.
Do you worry that Quill will someday replace you?
No, I'm not sitting in the back of the classroom with my feet up on the desk while they're doing this work. I'm going around and I'm chatting with each of the students and supporting them as a human being. AI isn't going to encourage, right, isn't going to notice if somebody's having a bad day. And so those things aren't going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
She's not going anywhere, and we are happy about that. Looks like the good old cut and paste is going to be a lot harder with Quill, so we shall see. All right, so for any papas out there, Father's Day is just 2 days away, and when we think of Father's Day, we think of good old family time, a couple presents, cards, maybe a barbecue, and it turns out across the country, all of that racks up to a lot of money. NBC's Brian Chung breaks down all the data on all things dad.
Well, hey, there's some much-deserved recognition of those dads and father figures out there. Happy Father's Day. I've got a number of stats for you, starting off with $22.4 billion. That's how much is estimated to be spent on this holiday, according to the National Retail Federation. On a per-person basis, that breaks out to about $190, which I want to point out is about $65 less than the expected spend for Mother's Day. I'm just pointing out the numbers. 58% say that they'll buy greeting cards. $4.5 billion rather will be spent on special outings like maybe taking your dad out to lunch. And then lastly, $3.5 billion on clothing like a pair of socks. It's kind of your stereotypical gift for Father's Day. A few other numbers here, though. 58% are just saying they want to spend more time with the kids. You don't have to spend on anything, but if you do, there are some sales out there. Free shipping over $35 at Target and gifts as low as $15 over at Walmart. Now, some stats on just the scale and how many dads are out there. Almost 75 million in this country. 61.6% of men are fathers, and the average age of new dads just ticked over 30. It's 30.7 right now. And 2.1 million stay-at-home dads. Shout out to all those dads holding it down at home. Lastly here, 52 years since the holiday was recognized on a federal basis. It's always on the third Sunday in June. There are 14 ways to say father, which I won't get into, like dad, daddy, baba. Dad, by the way, comes from babies, linguistic experts say. They say dada, dad, dada. It usually comes, though, after mama, so just want to point that out. And then lastly here, the best TV dad as rated by the Today Show in a bracket challenge was Charles Ingalls' Pa from Little House on the Prairie. So some fun Father's Day stats for you on this wonderful holiday. Happy Father's Day to you as well, Gadi. Back to you.
Thanks so much. And both of my kids have mispronounced mama as dada, so I can attest to that. Thanks so much, Brian. And now for our 60 seconds of joy, look at these adorable little spider monkeys right there. They're so cute and cuddly, but those guys actually, they were in a kind of bad situation. Over the last few months, they were all rescued by the Gladys Porter Zoo in Texas, right along the border with Mexico. The monkeys were all snatched from the wild and smuggled across the border, and U.S. agents were able to save them before they ended up in the illegal pet trade. And despite everything those babies have been through, things are finally starting to look up.
They're getting excellent care around the clock, a very, very good diet, and all the TLC we can give them. These are tiny infants that would cling to their mother's back, and we have to replace that level of care.
Oh, nothing replaces a mom, but they are trying. The zoo set up some incubators, and they're planning to build some new habitats there, and they even set up a GoFundMe. As rescuing 19 monkeys just in the last few months has been very much a challenge. They are continuing to grow, get bigger. The zoo is hoping to find them homes at other zoos around the country and maybe one day return them back to the wild. You cannot get enough of those cute little faces. We are glad to see those guys in such good hands there. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Happy early Father's Day to all those papas out there. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We'll see you here Monday, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.